but French versus Japanese. And this is a matchup we've seen time and time again at the highest level. We've seen certain players play French with the Chamber of Commerce into this matchup. We've seen other players play it a little bit more straight up as French. But on this map, I think Chamber of Commerce is an option, not the best option. Players are nice to us today. We're only getting hit with a 45-ish second observer delay here. But personally, given how French plays, Japanese has a lot of answers here, right? They have the Onimusha, which are really good against knights, which we all know French love their knights. They also have mounted samurai, which if French overinvests in feudal and too many knights, mounted samurai can take the field quickly and enforce some winning fights there. So I want to say it's kind of on French to decide how this game is going to be played, but I do feel like they might be on their back foot a little bit.
Yeah, I think the one caveat I might throw in is if French can force some like quick fights and then retreat, heal back up again. I think that's one thing where they would have a benefit, an advantage. But if it's like straight up fight after fight after fight, and Myriad doesn't let Downfall breathe, then yeah, I would say French could be in for a difficult time. So Myriad in red, playing the Japanese on the right side of Relic River against Downfall, playing the French in Japanese. Did I say Myriad French? Dear Myriad Japanese and Downfall
Myriad
French.
is Japanese.
Yeah.
He is what I believe is going for either a Dark Age barracks or a dock play. He's starting with 5 villagers on wood, so it's either shenanigans or dock. The villager is down south, so I'm going to err on the side of dock instead of a proxy barracks.
Yeah, that proxy barriers would have been surprising. Again, like I've seen some games where Japanese played very aggressively, either with tower rushing me or with just straight up feudal all in, which because the barracks only cost 75 wood now, again for whatever reason I have no idea why. It actually is very possible to just go a little bit on wood and then you pull a tower plus a barracks and then you just straight up murder your opponent with Dark Age Samurai. So I don't think again like on higher levels that probably doesn't work, but on like mid, I would say up to diamond, that probably is viable. I could imagine. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about this matchup, right? Downfall wants to get to Castle Age, and that's really going to be critical for Downfall. Once he gets the Arbitrator on the field, that's kind of where Japanese starts to struggle a little bit with their answers to that unit. It's going to counter the Mounted Samurai. Arbitrator also have an upgrade that gives them additional melee armor, so Onabu Geishas aren't really the best answer there, especially if there's knights at the front line. And the Onimushas don't trade out well resource-wise into those Arbitraries. They do have the mobility advantage, but they don't trade out well in resources. So I think Downfall is going to look at this and say, how many knights can I make to idle out Myriad while also still getting to castle at a respectable time? And I think that's probably, given the School of Cavalry, how I think Downfall is going to play this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like I would imagine that Downfall will probably go for like a handful, two, three, maybe four nights, and then just leave it at there. Hope Myriad invests heavily into military. Maybe he can disrupt a little bit because so one thing on Relic River is if you're looking at the map, everything is outside of your town center. Like there's no safe gold, there's no safe stone. Woodline is outside. Even the berries are outside, and for either player. And so it is very easy to bring some aggression and idle out the gold. And if you can do that, Japanese will not have a fast castle. They will not have to mount a samurai early on the field and the Wanamusha and all that. So I think that's what Downfall will try to look for, and just yeah bait Myriad into some a lot of military production and aggression and whatever. Maybe get some kills here, scale a little bit with the increased villager production rate as well as for French. You know, like kill a couple villagers and then have a couple more because of your town center, and then go from there and then go into Castle Age. I think that's how it should play out, or probably will play out.
Yeah, no, I mean, also very, very, very possible here. We will know in a little bit just by looking at the amount of villagers downfall puts on wood, and I'm seeing 7 on wood, so
Hmm.
there absolutely could be a fair amount of aggression in his plan given that amount on wood. That's too many on wood to do anything else than play a good degree of feudal.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, he is also putting down his dock, so maybe that's one of the reasons. And then also you kind of have to think, okay, if I go knights, he will go spearmen. If I want to continue, then I need archers, and so you do need a couple villagers on wood. 9 seems a little bit excessive, but then again, if he's going on water, and there is the first galley, so he will actually um,
So
contest
I
this one here.
I missed this dock play here. That explains the 7 on wood
Yeah.
perfectly. However, I'd hate to say it. This seems like a small amount of resources to fight over, right? Like, Downfall
Yeah.
is just kind of like, no, you can't have this. I know you're only going to gather with 3 fishing ships that recently got nerfed, but that's a no for me, sir.
Yeah. Yes, at the same time, this is basically 2 houses that he gets, and so in a sense, it's like, you know, if he goes for the dog, it's like I spent 150 wood instead of 100 wood, and I don't have to build 2 houses instead. So in a sense, it's like, yeah, it also helps him to not get pop capped here. Um, but we do have a pretty delayed night. I mean, you know, like talking about like close to 6 minutes Royal Knight on the field, where you usually would expect them at like 4:30 or something like that, 5 minutes maybe.
Oh, there's a toxic knight build that gets a knight to your base very early.
Hmm.
Downfall didn't use it in this game. But yeah, that is most French players would be disappointed at a 6 minute night, but given the denial of Myriad's dock here, that knight is looking at these berries, and if these villagers aren't careful, one of them is going to go down. And charge comes in, knight pulls back though, that villager is lucky to be alive.
Yeah, that was a very close call here. Good reaction by Myriad. Just like like a half second later, and that villager would have died because yeah, it's that's the annoying thing with the Royal Knights having a higher base damage and with the charge and all that is like you get the notification that you get attacked, you look at that and there's already one dead villager, so it's like you have to be
It,
proactive against them.
it's like watching an episode of South Park, and he's dead.
And he's
Just
dead.
Yep, just in so quickly. Myriad, that is pretty gutsy there to continue to push in those deer despite that Royal Knight just kind of hanging out there. Um, Myriad Tower got the Aeroslits upgrade, has signaled, hey man, I'm going to Castle Age. Like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Leave me alone, please. Let me build my wall here. Keep your knight far away from my eco if at all possible. Night comes in, villagers run away, and so Japanese villagers move very quickly because of how their dual wheelbarrow system works.
Mm.
And here comes the floating gate here, and this is kind of what I alluded to, right? Downfall has one knight, and Myriad is going up to Castle Age. He's going to just be able to start churning knights out left, right, and center.
No.
And at least for the early part of this, Myriad's knights are going to be better.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'm a little bit surprised that Downfall didn't invest a lot into military and still is so far behind in terms of age up. So I mean, I would have expected him to. Let me pause the game for just 1 second so it catches up. I would have expected Downfall to actually be a little bit faster with his age up or have more aggression on the field. You know, if he had like 5 or 10 archers here as well, maybe producing some rams, I would totally understand that he's like way off castle age, but it feels a little bit um, weaker actually than what Japanese is doing right now in a sense.
So there's two key elements though that you might not have realized. One, he invested in a demo ship, and he invested in a galley, whereas Myriad did not. Two, Downfall is pro scouting.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, the first one I was aware of. I didn't even realize that he was pro scouting. I didn't think that was on the table. Are we still like season 10? I thought we were. I thought we left that behind us. I
Yeah,
don't know.
well, Pro Scouts is still viable for a lot of civs. Remember, French gets some economy upgrades, so Downfall is investing in a few more knights here to deter this mounted samurai from making his way over. And Myriad is forced to run away, but it won't be long before Myriad has the knight advantage. And Downfall, in order to match the power of Myriad's knights, he needs the Royal Institute, which you see coming up now, but he also needs Royal Bloodlines. Until
Mm,
he gets Royal Bloodlines, Myriad will have the superior knights.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, do you okay? Do you feel bad about the Royal Institute? Because I like the guild hall for, I mean, obvious reasons that it helps stabilize or and grow your eco and in a very comfortable way. And so obviously the Royal Institute has some very nice benefits to it, but it kind of feels like he has to go for that and not like he wants to go for that, if that makes sense.
You're 100% correct. This fight should never go to Imperial. Knight charge, mounted samurai charging in, picks a villager, runs away. It's not that big of a deal because French has faster villager production. But as I was saying before, you don't want this to go to Imperial as French. If this goes to Imperial, you've definitely done something wrong. Ooh, that was so gorgeous by Myriad. Pulls the knights away with some mounted samurai, comes in with another one, picks a villager, and pulls his knight away. Um, but yeah, so French needs to get some leaning harder into the knights, which is fine, but they need to get some crossbows on the field here and really force Myriad into something other than mounted samurai. Nice charge there from Myriad, picking off another villager, and now Downfall is behind Myriad a little bit, but Myriad does have the boats. He has 3 fishing ships.
He does have the bows. By the way, he did regain control over that little river here just with the arrow slits, the naval arrow slits, and then he was able to repair the dock, and now he's just fully controlling that again. He did grab some relics already with the Shaolin monks, and so relic game is going more or less in his favor. And yeah, as you said earlier, like beautiful mastery or display of mastery here with this distraction samurai coming from each side and then just killing a couple of villagers. 4 villager kills, that's really not bad if you're looking at there's 2 towers and a handful of royal knights, and he still was able to manage all that. And I don't think if I don't know if he lost some wanted samurai actually. I'm not even sure.
So, as of yet, I don't think a mounted samurai has gone down. Myriad's done a really good job of kind of pulling them back and using his Shinto priest to heal them up. But right now, on his game plan is to secure all the relics. And once that's done, he'll move into stage 2 of his plan. Downfall seems to kind of think, hey, we're gonna play this with knights only. Just gonna spam the W key all game, and I guess that's fine. Especially with Royal Bloodlines knights, but I would like to see some Arbaletiers. They're really, really, really powerful in this matchup, and it'll force Myriad to rethink his comp choice.
Yeah, I mean, one
Isn't it?
thing is Downfall is looking for. He has at least 1 horseman on the field. It's just feudal age, but I don't know if he will lean more into that. He might as soon as he realizes the Onamusha. Um, and Royal Bloodlines is still 40 seconds out, so he doesn't really want to fight right now. Needs to be careful that he doesn't lose the Royal Knight. Doesn't have veterancy, by the way, either, and so they will not heal for now. Um, And yeah, Myriad is just collecting relics left and right, basically. Like, he's very happy about that. He needs to be careful here. Is a little bit outnumbered, but then again, reinforcements coming in, and so that is okay. Well, that poor priest losing
Without
a
royal
knight though.
bloodlines, without royal bloodlines though, these Japanese knights, mounted samurai, are superior for two reasons. One, deflection armor, right? So
Mm,
it sort of negates the charge. The French knights do get the bonus damage after their charge, but it blunts the initial bonus damage or the charge damage. The
yeah.
other reason is the Uma Bannerman. And that increases the DPS of mounted samurai. Nice micro from Myriad there. Mounted Samurai pulling back. Onimusha is just kiting backwards, and little by little, Myriad's going to win this fight.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is, usually you would see the Onamusha and be like, why is he going mounted archers, like horse archers, against French knights? But they're actually his crossbow equivalent. And so, very brutal fight here for Downfall, losing basically all of his knights, and yeah, with that also losing the game.
Yeah, this is one of those matchups. French needs to lean into their crossbows.
Yeah.
It's a unit that I think Japanese, again, they have answers they can make horsemen with, but it's a little bit more complicated for Japanese to deal with it, like some of the other civs here. You would think, oh, just make base bows, make Yuma. Well, unfortunately, the Arbalitrie, um, have bonus range damage, so it's a hard unit for Japanese to play around. But Downfall just leaned very hard into those knights and just kind of found out that Japanese can play that game.